दिवाकराय भगवत्पादाभिधां बिभ्रते तस्मै भाष्यकृते नमोऽस्तु सततं पूर्णाय बोधात्मने। ब्रह्माहं यत्प्रसादेन मयि विश्वं प्रकल्पितम् श्रीमत्स्वयं प्रकाशाख्यं प्रणौमि जगतां गुरुं। यः परमात्मा जगत् सृष्ट्वा प्रविवेश पुनः स्वयं तं कृष्णं प्रत्यगात्मानं वन्दे गोपी मनोहरम्। यस्य प्रसादादहमद्वयात्मा विश्वं समस्तं मयि कल्पितं च तं सर्वलोकैकगुरुं सदाश्री स्वयं प्रकाशं गुरुमानतोऽस्मि। गुरूणां शरणां घोषं प्रणिपत्य निरन्तरं तत्कृपालेशतो द्वैत चिंता कौस्तुभमारभे। We are on page number 117. That is where, in the physical copy, that is where we left. In the Moola Grantha, let us read that line so that we are able to recapitulate and move further. Etau laksharthau upadaya sambandhatrayena sahitam tattvamasyaadivakyam lakshanaya akhandartha bodhakam bhavati. Etau, these two. Now what are these two? Lakshartho, the implied meanings, the two implied meanings conveyed by the two words. Which words are we dealing with? Tat and Tvam. And what are the implied meanings of both of them respectively? The implied meaning of the word Tat is Akhanda Chaitanyam, and the implied meaning of the word Tvam is Pratyak Chaitanyam. Okay, hope we all remember this very well, because that Anvaya Vyatireka which we have done, if anybody needs a sadhana for this Navratri that we are in, today is the second day of Navratri, then meditate on these two, the implied meanings of Tat and Tvam. Till the implied meanings of these words are crystal clear to you, how to employ the words and their meanings to decipher the meaning delivered by the sentence will always remain ambiguous. That's why let us have this as our sadhana during the Navratri. The Anvaya Vyatireka, which was shown, the process of inclusion and the process of exclusion. And when that reminds me of one incident when I was in Vrindavan and studying under Swami Vishwatmananji. That was somewhere in 2002, 2003. He said, ब्रह्मचारी जी, इन चीजों को अच्छी तरह मांझ लेना चाहिए. मांझना मतलब, you know how we wash our vessels. we wash vessels. Like in the olden days, we had the brass and the copper pots. And if the brass or the copper pots were not cleaned every day, they would become dull and eventually become blackened because of oxidization. And so, if you remember the olden times, how these people, with the ash, with the coir, or with the dry hay, they would wash these vessels. Washing of those vessels is called manjna. Achhi tarah se. It has to be kept polished. And when brass or copper is kept polished, it shines. It shines like anything. So like that he said, इन चीजों को अच्छी तरह मांझ लेना चाहिए, बार बार मांझो, till the word and its meaning becomes extremely clear. Now, another thing which comes to my mind as I'm talking to you is, most of you who are sitting across, it is God's grace that Ishwar Kripa, that you all have this inclination to listen to the Shastra, in spite of all your preoccupations within your framework of the Grihasthashram, wherever you are. And that's why it may not be possible with all those preoccupations, because actually doing certain things physically also means that your mind is to be involved in those activities. And if not that, then a grihastha often is worried about various things. He has several worries, because of which he has a mental preoccupation. And thus, when the mind is not really free, how would a person then give himself to the process of contemplation? And this is one of the reasons why we have the system of sannyas ashram, where a person, now having found himself that he has done everything that he needs to do as a householder, and there are the duties that he has as a householder have been executed, and therefore now he can withdraw himself into a little peaceful environment and give himself to the life of contemplation. Thus, therefore, there was Vanaprasthashrama. So I understand that you people are there still, very much in the throbbing Grihasthashrama, and that is what is going to keep you preoccupied. Nevertheless, there is one thing that which you can do is, wherever you find a little opportunity, okay, wherever the opportunity comes to listen to Vedanta, see to it that you seize that opportunity. You do not drop the opportunity. And as you are executing your duties of your household as a householder, do the mantra, japa constantly. Whatever that you are doing, let your speech be involved and chant the Lord's name. So thus, that is what is something that will bring you back, bring you back to the track. Otherwise, the worldly life is so difficult. The anxieties and worries of various things is going to simply draw you away, even without you noticing it. Sometimes when we go to take a bath in Ganga over here in Rishikesh, apparently it looks that the river is quiet and calm at certain places, but do not get deceived by that, because the current and the force of that water is so much that you will see that where you started taking bath, and in another 1 minute or 2 minutes, you already are 10 feet away from that same place, even without your knowledge. So it just takes you away. Like that, this is what happens when, even in the Grihastha Ashrama. So even those people like Vachaspati Mishra or our Sureshwara Acharya, etc., Mandan Mishra, etc., of the great tradition, those who even during their, as a householder, were able to give themselves to such a life of contemplation is something commendable. It is not something easy. There are various things, relations, health, money, neighbors, relatives, visits, social commitments, 1,001 things are there around you, which will force you out of this. Therefore, for a grihastha, let him take every opportunity with commitment to listen to Vedanta wherever he can. But when it comes to a sannyasi, this is not a choice. For a sannyasi, this is obligatory. That a sannyasi should never be without the Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. That is all. Well, now what happens? Etau laksharthau upadaya. So when the meanings of those two words are clear to us like an apple in our hand, in the palm, like a gooseberry on your palm. Now, something that is just there on your palm, now you cannot have a doubt about it, whether it is a gooseberry or some other kind of a berry. This is it. This is an amalagam or amalaki phalam. So like that, it is doubtless. So to the point that the meanings, the implied meanings of the word tat and tvam are clear to us. Say suppose somebody wakes you up in the middle of the night and asks you, do you know what is an aeroplane? Now, how do you really have to think about it and give a great effort and then say, well, aeroplane is such and such a thing? Hi, it flies in the air and carries you across from one place to another. It is a mode of commutation, etc. You don't have to. It is very, very clear. The meaning is available. Like that, the meanings of these words should be available to the buddhi, without a delay. So now that is what is etau lakshartho. So the lakshartha of both the words tat and tvam, akhanda chaitanyam, pratyak chaitanyam. And how did you reach this? Through the process of anvaya and gatireka. Upadaya, having taken that sambandha trayen sahitam. Now we have to proceed. We have to proceed to meaning delivered by the sentence. If you remember, on an earlier occasion too, I have explained this thing. Now let us take another sentence for an example. Now, naturally, when it is a sentence, it means it is constituted of few words. Then those words have their own meaning. And when those words get related to each other in the sentence, now the words in relation to each other will also deliver a new meaning which was unknown to you before. Now I'm going to tell you a sentence. And before that sentence, let us pick up the words. Let us say Rama. You know Rama. Okay. Who is Rama? Dasharathi Rama. Rama, the son of Dashratha. Okay. Then you know the meaning of the word Vanam. Vanam means a forest. So even that is also there. So Gachati goes. So now you know Rama is Dasharathi Rama. Vanam also means forest. But assuming that you do not know that Rama goes to forest. Now, Rama's going to the forest was not known to you. You knew Rama, you know forest, but you do not know Rama goes to forest. So now when the words come together to form a sentence, the sentence has its own meaning. The words have their own meaning. The sentence has its own meaning. Now, similarly, we have to have the meaning of those words available to our understanding first. Then, when those words come into the sentence, we have the meaning of this sentence. So the sentence also has got the same function to do. Like the words have a function to perform. What is the function of the words? The words have to deliver or generate knowledge. Let us say, when I say the word Rama, it generates certain knowledge in you. Who is Rama? He is son of Dashratha. Fine. So now the word has done its work. It has generated the knowledge. Rama. Okay. The sentence also similarly that has a function to perform. So Ramaha Vanam Gacchati, when it is said, it generates the knowledge of you, allowing you to know that Rama goes to forest. You knew Rama, you know forest, you know the meaning of the verb going, goes, going. But it is Rama who goes to forest was not known. And therefore, the sentence also has a similar function to perform. It generates knowledge. So now he says, the author in the original text says, Tattvanusanthani vakyam lakshanaya akhandartha bodhakam bhavati. Is able to tell you, generate the knowledge of that which is akhandam, that which is partless. This is very, very interesting. How you say, it's not just, I don't know if you have found, why Swamiji is saying it is interesting. Look at it. This is a little something that is out of the text, but within the framework of our tradition of that. When I say Ramaha Vanam Gacchati, Rama is one part, Vanam is another part Gachati is an action that is between Rama, which connects Rama to forest. That connects. So, whenever a sentence generates the knowledge, it will generate the knowledge which is in parts, which of course has components and has parts. Is not it? The knowledge is as if in constructed of various parts. But he says over here, Tattvamasya vakyam, the sentences like Tattvamasi. So not only that there is only one sentence Tattvamasi, Ayam Atma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. These are the four Mahavakyas of the four Vedas. But there are several Mahavakyas. There are several Mahavakyas. And Mahavakya means the Vakyam, the sentence, which shows the oneness of Atma and Paramatma, which shows the oneness that Atma is Paramatma, that which shows the oneness of Jiva and Brahma. Jiva Brahma Aikya Pratipadakam Vakyam is called as Mahavakyam. Okay. So Tattvamasyadi Vakyam. So this Mahavakya, which is like the Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi, Prajnanam Brahma. All these Vakyas, what do they show you? What knowledge do they generate? They generate a knowledge which is akhandarth, which is partless. Oh, how can a sentence have the capacity to generate knowledge which is partless? Because whenever there is a sentence, it will have words. Those words together will get related to each other and then generate a knowledge, which of course is full of, which is, in parts. How can you say akhandartha bodhakam? So he says akhandartha bodhakam bhavati katham lakshanaya. It is through the lakshana. Let us keep the word lakshana as it is. Through lakshana. Akaranta strilinga. Okay. How? Through what? Through lakshana. Because when you are going to say lakshanam, it is napumsakalingam, and lakshanam is different from lakshana. You get that clear? Because we have, though there is something common, but it is not exactly the same thing. Tattvamasyadi vakyam. So the Mahavakyas, what do? Akhandartha bodhakam bhavati. The Mahavakya shows you the meaning which is complete, infinite, partless. Is partless. Therefore, and how? Through lakshana. Okay. But how does that all happen? So now he has given us a synopsis of that process. Laksharthau upadaya. The laksharthas, the implied meanings of the words tat and tvam are taken together. Laksharthau upadaya sambandha trayam. Now, with the aid with the help of sambandha trayam, the way the words interact with each other. What is the relationship of words with each other? Okay. Sambandhatrayena sahitam. Though the words are different, though apparently even the meanings of those words are also different. You see, funny part. What is the meaning, implied meaning of the word tat? Akhanda chaitanya. What is the meaning of the word tvam? Pratyak chaitanya. So therefore, lakshartha upadaya sambandhatrayena sahitam. Now, the words in a particular way get related to each other, and the way they relate to each other is this relationship is of three kinds, can be seen through three kinds. Take any one, take all, but there are just these three ways. Sambandhatraya, three ways in which the words of this sentence get related to each other. Okay, sambandhatrayena sahitam tattvamasyaadivakyam lakshanaya akhandartha bodhakam bhavati. This is how the words now are going to generate the knowledge. Which knowledge? The Brahmakara Vritti. That knowledge which destroys the ignorance. Brahmakara Vritti Sambandhatraya. So now this sentence is important. You can keep it underlined, because based on this, we have the next, this is the link to the next topic that we are going to jump into. Etau laksharthau upadaya sambandhatrayena sahitam tattvamasyaadivakyam lakshanaya akhandartha bodhakam bhavati. All right. Hopefully, that sentence is very, very clear to you. And that sentence is important because it is our link to the next topic. Let's go ahead. Okay. Now comes a question. Sir, what is the sambandha trayam? What are these? Well, there are several questions, but the foremost question is sambandha trayena. It is able to generate the knowledge. Sir, what are these threefold sambandhas? The way in which the words get related to each other. How? What are these? What is the sambandha traya? So now he explains it on page number 118. Sambandha trayantu. So before you can go into the what is the akhanda artha, etc., understand what is sambandha trayam. So two, sambandha trayantu padayoho samanadhikaranyam. So now sentence, words with their objects. Okay, every word has an object to illumine. When I say the word cat, it immediately illumines a certain animal to you in your buddhi. So sambandha trayantu Padayoho. The pada means the words. And what is the object of the words called as padarth? Pada and padarth. Samha padayoho samanadhikaranyam. Samanadhikaranyam or samanadhikaranyam, same thing. So padayoho, of these padas, of these words, what is the relationship with each other? How do the words relate to each other? It is said samanadhikaranyam. We will see what all those things are. What is the relationship of the words with each other? Technically, what is it called? Samanadhikaranyam. Now he explains. Samanadhikaranyam nama भिन्न प्रवृत्ति निमित्तानां शब्दानां एकस्मिन् अर्थे वृत्तिः. But before we go to that, let us look at the commentary part, and the commentary only on the word sambandha trayam. Sambandheti samanadhikaranyam visheshana vishesha bhava sambandha. What are the three sambandhas? Everywhere it is sambandha. So samanadhikaranyam, samanadhikaranya sambandham. Then visheshana vishesha bhava sambandha. Laksha lakshana bhava sambandha. Cha iti traya sambandha. Have you noted it down? What are the three sambandhas that we have to understand? First, the sambandha called as samanadhikaranyam. The next one is visheshana vishesha bhava sambandha. And then the third one is lakshya lakshana bhava sambandha. 3. Keep your note and be very, very alert. I will repeat it over again. What are the three sambandhas? Sorry. Samanadhikaranya sambandha, visheshana vishesha bhava sambandha, and lakshya lakshana bhava sambandha. These are the three sambandhas. All right, these are the three ways in which the words relate or get connected to each other. Not only the words, there is the objects of those words too. Okay. So now he says, pada. So, and he explains it further. In the commentary part only. Read that. That will help us keep the things very clear in our mind. Padayoho. What is padayoho? Pada means the words. Okay. Padayoho, of these two words. In Sanskrit, we have the dual case. So, padayoho samanadhikaranyam. These two words, which two words? Tat and tvam. The words interact or get related to each other, which is called as samanadhikaranyam. Okay. Then, padarthayoho. Now we have shifted from the words Now we are going to the object of the words. Padarthayoho, those objects conveyed by those words. So now we are going to say, since there are two words, there are two objects. So padarthayo, between the objects of these two words, padarthayo visheshana vishesha bhavascha. What is the sambandha between the padarthas of the padas? It is called as samanadhikaranyam. And between the padarthas, visheshana visheshya bhava sambandha. The adjective and the substantive. Visheshana vishesh. But sir, adjective substantive is always in the words only. Oh no. How to say now? Visheshanam. Understand. I'll give you an example. I say Rakta Pushpam, a red flower. Okay. So red is also a word, flower is also a word. And the word red has an object. The word flower also has an object. Now, in that red flower, red becomes the Visheshana. What is the red? It is as if the characteristic of the flower. It is the characteristic of the flower. So flower over here is the substantive and the red is the adjective. So adjective and substantive are there with the words, but now we have handicapped over here by my limited vocabulary. Yet between the objects, two objects, because two words, tat and tvam. What is it? Visheshana vishesha bhava sambandha. Now, can you think about a third sambandha which possibly can be there? So we say, yes, there is one. And whether it is the words or the objects, the words or the objects of those words, what happens with them? They serve to be the lakshana. The words or even the objects of those words, how do this, what function do they do? Of being the lakshana. What is the lakshana? Does anyone remember what is called as lakshanam?
Distinguishing character.
It is distinguishing characteristic. True. It is a distinguishing characteristic, which means
Vyavartakam.
Huh?
Vyavartakam.
Correct. Vyavartakam. It means it is asadharana dharma. Asadharana dharma. We will go to that when we are there. But whether it is the words or the objects of the words, what will they function as? Lakshanam. To show what is lakshyam, that which is indicated by something. So the words also can indicate, even the characteristic also can indicate. So these becomes the indicators, and that which is indicated is lakshyam. So now they have a special relationship which is called as lakshya, lakshana, bhava sambandha. All right. Now let us bring the whole topic once again together. Where are you going to find that it is together? The earlier sentence. What is that sentence? That's why I said this is a very important sentence. Lakshartha upadaya sambandhatrayena sahitam tattvanusanthanaam lakshanaya akhandartha bodhakam bhavati. Okay, this vakyam. Stay put on this vakyam, and then the next topic naturally will come as its consequence. What are the sambandha trayas? Padayoho samanadhikaranyam padarthayoho visheshana vishesha bhava sambandha and padayoho padarthayoho va lakshya lakshana bhava sambandha. Got it? Clear. Now, this is it. Etaihi sahitam mahavakyam akhandartha bodhakam ityarthaha. Then he says, etaihi sahitam. Now, along with these three sambandhas, any vakyam, these are all our cognitive processes. Even without us knowing that how our brain works, we are able to cognize. But the more you are able to understand how the cognition, in what way it is taking place, now you will be clear. So it goes, etaihi sahitam. Along with these three sambandhas, etaihi sahitam mahavakyam akhandartha bodhakam. Now, what do we have to finally understand? That what is Purnam, that which is Akhandam. Because this is what our inquiry was. What is it that is Purnam? What is that is infinite? And something that is infinite, how can that be conveyed? By a sentence. People like Krishnamurti, etc., simply got stuck at this one question. But because even great people like them, great thinkers, also did not have an access to the answer to their question, because they did not come through this tradition of knowledge. Therefore, what happened with them is that for them, their whole philosophy only became a question. If you look very closely at what great people like Krishnamurti are saying, is nothing but simply an agnostic approach. Just a question. And because that question does not have an answer to them, for them, Now they say that let that question be there, just look at the question. And then when you look at the question, now that question will disappear and there will be meditation. So now then it enters into some realm of some sort of a mysticism. You say, that's why, you look at something for very, very long time, naturally all other thoughts subside. And when all other thoughts subside, even this one thought will also subside, leaving the mind clean and blank. That is called as samadhi. But that samadhi is not the answer to the question that you raised, right? It is not an answer to that question. So, not knowing what is the answer to that question means the ignorance still prevails. Though there is samadhi, yet the ignorance continues to prevail. And therefore, they say, ask that question, just an agnostic question. And the question over here would be that anything that is described by the word or anything which is understood by the thought is naturally a limited object, is a limited object. If it is limited, finite, how can you say that the infinite can be known? So therefore, all what is known is basically finite. And therefore, infinite cannot be known. Cannot be known. So this is their conclusion. I will frame it in Hindi. जो भी शब्द के घेरे में आता है, जो भी वृत्ति मतलब विचार है, एक थॉट, जो भी वृत्ति के घेरे में बैठता है, वह शांत पदार्थ है, finite. For example, I'm going to say the word cat, billi. So naturally, this word has conveyed you its object. Billi means rose. Does billi means a tree? Billi means a cat. Doesn't mean a tree. So on and so forth, which means that whatever that object is, it is limited by other objects. Correct? बाकी सारे वस्तुओं से वो भिन्न होने के कारण इन सारे वस्तुओं से कटी हुई है. Tree is not a cat, the rose is not a cat, a camel is not a cat. So इन सब तरह से परिच्छिन्न वस्तु हो गई. परिच्छिन्न वस्तु हो गई. It has become a small, limited object. Now, when that cat, we are saying it is not only limited as an object, it is limited in time and it is limited in space. Okay? So the object by itself, which is conveyed by the words, how is it? Or the object which is held by the thought, how is it? It is going to be limited in nature. And therefore, people like him, now they are great thinkers, they say anything which is conveyed by the words or that which is understood by the thought is parichinna vastu, is a limited object, is a limited object. And therefore, that which is limitless, that which is aparichinna, that what is ananta, cannot be conveyed by the words. Got it? And how can that be conveyed by the words? So objection. Then that objection, their objection turns into a solid philosophy that words cannot convey, you cannot understand what is the truth. So truth, satyam, that what is infinite, that what is complete, cannot be known, cannot be understood, cannot be spoken, and therefore, what is the conclusion? Just look at it, keep looking at this question. And therefore, once the question is there in your focus, everything else just melts away. That question remains, and even that question will also disappear, and eventually there will be this blank, thoughtless, thought-free state of mind, which he calls meditation. We also call, not a big deal. But yes, your mind is thought-free. But is that what you are saying is an answer to the question? That has not answered the question, what is anantam, what is aparichinnam, what is it that is limitless? इसका तो कोई जवाब ही नहीं मिला. चूंकि वो जवाब नहीं मिला, प्रश्न वैसे के वैसे ही उपस्थित रहा, अज्ञान सुरक्षित है. ये सब क्यों? Why is all this? Because one has not arrived at this question through the tradition of the Upanishad. The Upanishad says, yes, Tattvanusandhanam Vakyam is able to show you Paramatma. है हमारे पास. Shows how sambandha trayam sahitam. Okay, just whatever are the requirements of that sentence, Tatvamasi, let us fulfill them. What is the first requirement? That the lakshartha of both the words should be upasthitam, means it should be available. Then the words and the objects, observe that they have sambandha trayam. And then lakshana, it is through lakshana they do the job. Okay, this is what our pratishya is. So what are the three sambandhas? Once again, to leave you with this class with a conclusion of today's lecture. The sambandha trayas are between the two padas. The sambandha is called as samanadhikaranyam. Between the padarthas, the objects, it is called as visheshana vishesha bhava sambandha. Between the padas or the padarthas will become the lakshanam, and akhandartha will become the laksha. Huh? Laksha lakshana bhava sambandha. All right. So we will stop over here to come back tomorrow to understand what is samanadhikaranyam. All right. Now something, we will do the Mangalacharanam, and then I will just speak a little bit about the Navratri. ब्रह्माहं यत्प्रसादेन
प्रसादेन
मयि
मयि
विश्वं
विश्वं
प्रकल्पितं
प्रकल्पितम्
श्रीमत्स्वयं
स्वयं
प्रकाशाख्यं
प्रकाशाख्यं
प्रणौमि
प्रणौमि
जगतां गुरुम् यः परमात्मा जगत् सृष्ट्वा प्रविवेश पुनः स्वयं तं कृष्णं प्रत्यगात्मानं वन्दे गोपी मनोहरम् यस्य प्रसादानहमद्वयात्मा विश्वं समस्तं मयि कल्पितं च तं सर्वलोकैकगुरुं सदाश्री स्वयं प्रकाशं गुरुमानतोऽस्मि गुरूणां शरणां घोषं प्रणिपत्य निरन्तरं तत्कृपालीशतोऽद्वैत चिन्ता कौस्तुभमारभे ॐ पूर्णमतः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः।